Today's video, I'm going to be talking about running shoes and whether or not your latest, greatest pair of running shoes are actually doing you harm. Last year, when I started training full-time every day, I used to wear these shoes. These are called Charlies. They're made in Vietnam, like many other running shoes, and they are in a Mexican brand, but you can buy them online and get them shipped to anywhere in the world. These cost me about $50 US, that's all. I absolutely love these shoes. They've got great cushioning. They feel fantastic. And as you probably know, if you're a regular runner, you get a pair of shoes sometimes that just fits your feet in a way that no other shoes actually does. And that's what this shoe does for me. Absolutely fantastic. So when I went and dumped a whole lot of money on buying the latest, greatest shoe of the year last year, the 2022 Asics Nova Blast 3, and I was wanting to know whether this shoe was going to live up to all the hype that is surrounding it. Now, what was really interesting is the first day that I wore these, it was absolutely fantastic. Running down the road with mini trampolines on your feet, that's how I explained it to my wife at the time, and I just thought, you know what, these are absolutely fantastic. But now I've done about 400 kilometers of running in these shoes, and I have another opinion, and I want to share it with you today. So my opinion over the last 400 kilometers of wearing these shoes has actually divided my opinion when it comes to whether or not they're as good as they're made out to be. You see, when I was running in my cheaper version shoes, the Charlies, I was feeling the ground and having a very direct connection with the pavement, and I like that. I like to be able to feel the ground under my feet. So when I changed to this new Asics shoe, I all of a sudden had this huge stack height, and I had all this foam underneath me that I wasn't used to. And my legs, from my feet to my toes to my ankles to my glutes to my tendons to my Achilles, they weren't used to having all this cushioning. And over the last 400 kilometers of running in this shoe, I think I've become weaker. Yeah, that's right. I'm not using those muscles in the same way because of the softness within these shoes and the feedback I get from the shoe. It's nowhere near like it was in the Charlie, where I was feeling everything in my teeth. My feet were really, really tough. So I'm putting it out there today that I think these shoes you need to be very, very careful with. If you are a regular runner and you're doing, consistent mileage every week, and you're only running in these types of shoes, then you could actually be doing some harm to your body. And I say that in the most generous way, because I think if I was to train in these shoes for an extensive period of time, I'm talking about up to a year, they're going to make me feel weaker. And my glutes and all my other components that make my running technique up are going to become more and more relaxed. And I think that's a bad thing. So what I'm going to do now is to make sure that I use the shoe rotation that I have. I only have these two pairs of shoes. And I'm not going to overuse these hyper shoes. I'm going to make sure that I stick to doing a fair amount of my running in these traditional running shoes, what I call traditional or old school running shoes. And I think that's really important. So if you're out there and you've just started moving into the new hyper shoes, or you're thinking about moving into the new hyper shoes, maybe this is something you need to consider. Because I really believe that by using these types of shoes all the time, not just this brand, all the other brands that are on the market as well, but I think by using this shoe all the time, you're going to soften up those muscles, and they're not going to be working as hard. The human body is made to be working, and if we're taking it easy on some of those muscles, then your running technique is not going to be at the optimal level than it can actually be. So a little bit of a word of caution today in this video. Watch out when you go to buy these shoes. Make sure you're using them in a good shoe rotation. You're not over relying on them. Make sure you've got a pair of shoes that give you that connection to the ground, that haven't got as much foam and support in the toe, you're not going to get injured. These shoes are still really good shoes, and as long as you're swapping them around in your shoe rotation, you're not going to have any trouble with injury. Make sure you warm up properly before every run and do a bit of a cool down as well after your run. So yeah, I just wanted to make the video to talk about that today, because I think a lot of people are getting swept up in the hype around these shoes, and so they should be. They're fantastic running shoes, and for the price that we're paying and dropping on these, they need to be. And of course there's new evolutions coming out all the time, but just remember, when you're giving yourself all this support, is it actually doing you a good thing, or in some way is it actually harming your running over the long course? Have a think about it next time you go and buy a pair of running shoes, or using the shoes that you have in that rotation. I just wanted to highlight that today. Maybe you are a runner that's just getting into running for the first time, and you're wondering about these new shoes and what they actually do to your feet over a long period of time. Well, that's something that I've learned by using these shoes for the last 400 kilometers. Hope that tip helps you out. Now, if you like the video content I'm producing here, why not hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell notification. Every time I make a video, you will be notified of it. I'll be back again soon in another video telling you about my running journey and all the great things that are going on in 2023. Until then, stay safe, stay well everybody, and I'll see you soon.